string theory. Now, when you collide protons together and you see an explosion of what looks like particles, and I admit some of them may be that, but what more likely is happening is when you take small particles such as protons and you smash them apart, eventually you're going to get back to energy state, like the energy field that we live in that all matter originally came from. You're eventually going to turn those particles back into energy, and they're going to fade back into that field. So the amount of energy it takes to break them apart, and at the same time, since they've turned it back into energy, they're getting sucked back into this field, is probably pretty equal. Okay, so it looks like what you have is strings, but really what you have is you've applied enough energy to get them up, to break them, and then they're flying apart, and you're seeing what you're really seeing is an energy release as they fade back into the energy field. And then that's why it seems like that's a never-ending string, like it would never end. It's always the same speed. It's not going to slower. You know what I mean? I mean, the way they're explaining it is that this could go on forever, and the string can expand itself forever, because once you break it apart, it looks like there's nothing stopping it from continuing on forever. Well, what's really happening is the force equal to pulling it back into the energy field as it turns into energy is equal to the force that you applied to it to break it apart, so it would turn back into energy. Okay, so there may actually be some particles there, but more than likely the big result of it is that you're turning the particle, the smallest particle you can get, back into energy. And so you're thinking there's a string there that's infinity, but really what's happening is you've got equal amount of power applied to taking it apart and an equal amount of force pulling it back into the energy field, since you've broken it down far enough for it to turn back into energy. And you're thinking that's infinity, but really all you're doing is changing things from one state back to another state. So it came from energy, now it's going back into energy, and you're seeing that change in state, and you're seeing that line as an energy release line. Sort of like when you see lightning go through the sky. You're seeing an energy release line, like, so you blast a particle apart, it gets sucked back into this energy field because it finally reached a small enough stage and enough energy you gave it enough energy in a small enough stage to get it sucked back into this field as energy. So you're seeing equalization. It took the same amount of energy that you gave it to bust it apart so it would turn back into energy is the same amount of energy that's going to be applied. It's sucking it right back into the field, since it's enabled to be pulled back into the field now.